Have you ever noticed how God can change your life with one person, one conversation, one unexpected message, one meeting you almost missed, and suddenly nothing looks the same anymore? I feel strongly that someone listening to this is closer to a life changing connection than they realize. Not because you've earned it, not because you figured everything out, but because God knows exactly when to send the right person into the right season of your life. And for some of you, that's hard to believe because you've gotten used to disappointment. You've gotten used to things not working out. You've gotten used to people leaving. You've gotten used to being the one who cares more. But what if this next chapter is different? What if the reason previous relationships failed is because they were never meant to carry the future God has prepared for you? Because here's something I've learned: God will never allow a temporary person to stop a permanent purpose. Sometimes He removes people, sometimes He closes doors, sometimes He allows seasons to end, not because He wants to hurt you, but because He's protecting what He's building. Romans 8:28 reminds us that all things work together for good to those who love God. Even the heartbreaks, even the delays, even the closed doors. And while you've been wondering where your person is, God has been working behind the scenes, preparing moments, preparing timing, preparing hearts, and maybe even preparing someone who has been praying for the same thing you've been praying for. Think about that. While you've been asking God for them, they may have been asking God for you. And I just feel led to say this to someone right now. You've been waiting, you've been praying, you've been trusting God, even when it felt like nothing was changing. You've watched other people enter relationships while you're still wondering when your time will come. But don't let the waiting convince you that God has forgotten about you, because He hasn't. God knows your prayers, God knows your tears, God knows your desires, and God knows exactly what season you're in. If you're believing God for the right person and trusting Him with your future relationship, comment, "God, please remember me." Not because God has forgotten you, but because you're declaring that you're still trusting Him, still believing Him, and still expecting Him to move in your life. Because sometimes faith is simply refusing to give up while you're waiting. And while you're waiting, don't lose your expectation. Don't lose your faith. And definitely don't settle for less than what God has for you. Because what God is preparing is worth waiting for. You know, sometimes we underestimate how much one person can change our life. You can be in a relationship or you can marry someone, and your whole life can change in the twinkle of an eye. Now, hear me carefully. I'm not saying just any man or any woman can change your life. No, what I'm talking about is a person God has ordained for you, a person God has intentionally connected to your destiny. Because when God joins two people together, it's more than feelings, it's more than attraction, it's more than just liking each other. Ecclesiastes the 4:9 says, "Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor." There are certain people whose presence in your life unlocks things that were waiting on God's timing. That's why not everyone is meant to date you. Not everyone is meant to marry you. And not everyone is meant to have access to your heart. Some people are distractions. Some people are lessons. But some people are divine connections. Some people carry what I like to call the finger of God on the relationship, meaning when they enter your life, things begin to shift. Your mindset changes, your faith grows, your purpose becomes clearer, your future starts taking shape. And that's why you have to be careful who you connect yourself to. Because the wrong person can delay you, but the right person can help position you for what God has already prepared. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." And I believe that's what God wants someone to understand today. The person He has ordained for you is not just someone to love. There's someone who will align with the purpose, calling, and future God has planned for your life. And when God brings that kind of person into your life, sometimes everything changes faster than you ever imagined. And that's why I need you to stop looking at the waiting season as wasted time. Because waiting is not punishment. Waiting is preparation. Isaiah 40:31 says, "Those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength." The strongest relationships are not built by two perfect people. They're built by two people who allowed God to work on them before bringing them together. And I believe someone is entering that season right now, a season where you stop settling, a season where you stop chasing people who don't value you, a season where you stop confusing attention for love. And I need you to hear this next part. The person God is bringing into your life is not arriving to complete you. God completes you. They're arriving to complement the life God is already building in you. There is a difference. That's why this connection will feel different. Less confusion, less games, less uncertainty, more peace, more clarity, more purpose. Psalm 37:23 says, "The steps of a good person are ordered by the Lord." So if God is ordering your steps, He knows exactly who belongs in your future. And one day you'll look back and realize that every delay, every disappointment, and every closed door was leading you toward this moment. So don't lose hope. Don't give up on love. And don't assume God has forgotten your prayer. Because sometimes the biggest changes in your life begin with one person God sends at exactly the right time. And I believe for someone listening, that time is getting closer. If this message spoke to your heart, subscribe and join this family. Because God may be preparing something greater than you ever imagined. And remember, what's meant for you in God's timing will never miss you.